Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nude and Lude Podcast. I am Julie Cole.
I'm Joanna Derrick.
And we're glad you're back with us for episode 3.
Yep.
So we, this has been fun.
It has been.
It's almost like in real-time self-healing, too.
It really is. I know this morning when I was thinking about what we had decided we were probably going to talk about, I was like, wait. How can I make this help me?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so crazy. It's like we come up with a topic and it's like buying a new car. All of a sudden you have an ample opportunity to reflect on it.
Yeah.
It's showing up everywhere.
Yes. Well, and it's not lost on me also that you are a certified educated professional.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting like a solid 40 minutes of free therapy.
No, this is not therapy.
For me it is. I know. Yes. We are not therapizing. You are not.
You know, I should put that, we never even put that disclaimer on anything, but that's okay. I will say this. We were getting ready ahead of time, and I was like way up in the clouds, like high level, highbrow, like, intellectualizing the topic, and you were like...
I said, I'm just not there today, Julie.
You said, I'm much more lowbrow.
Yeah, I'm real low and basic today. Yeah, rudimentary.
You got your basic coffee?
Yes.
Your basic...
Yes, there's not a whole lot of high level thinking here.
That's okay. So normally we record in the morning. For those of y'all, this will come out in 2 weeks. So it is 3:15 in the afternoon. So we might be a little punch drunk on this one.
Yeah, hence the iced coffee, not hot coffee.
That's right. No kick in the day in the dick.
No.
We're already at the end of it.
No, we're just shaking ice cubes right now.
There's so much fodder we could do with this.
Yes.
Alone. I'm going to put my adult woman hat back on. All right. So let's start with a point of gratitude. You want to start out with one?
Oh, real basic.
You're grateful for being basic?
I am grateful for recognizing when I am not in a place, unwilling, incapable, whatever it is, to speak on a high intellectual level and to recognize that about myself,
right,
and say what I'm not able to do.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm grateful for the awareness and recognition that has come over the years of me not pretending.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what it is.
And that's so much self-awareness.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, and it totally goes to the theme for the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My point of gratitude is just continuing to suit up and show up. I'm really tired this afternoon, and I'm here, and it energizes me. I love the creative project. So
me too. I start looking forward to this 48 hours in advance.
I know, we start fangirling each other via text. So we diverge from our normal inappropriate memes and snarky memes.
Yeah. And I bought this dress 2 days ago, I think, and my aunt had to take it in, up for me, the straps, and I was like, can you maybe have it done by Thursday morning, because I'd like to wear it in the podcast.
And the cruelest joke of it all is the vast majority of our engagements via listening.
Yeah, well, it's more about the way it makes me feel,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, because it's green and pretty.
It's green and pretty. It matches your eyes.
Yes.
It brings your eyes out. They're very bright today.
Thank you.
So I have a picture of it from earlier. Maybe I'll post it.
That's the worst face ever.
I would never post that.
I don't care. Actually, do I care? I don't know. I have to think about that. If I care.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
pretty bad.
Part of how we decided to keep this kind of flying low for the day versus up to there and, high intellect. I'm going to get this
Pause.
out. Intellectualization land.
Yes.
Is talking about the vanity.
Yeah.
Using topics that really surround vanity.
And I am vain.
I like to think I'm not, but actually I think we all are in some way.
I mean, American women, we are vain. We have the luxury of vanity.
That's right. The privilege.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about our topic.
Okay.
You're the one who wanted to kind of dig into this one, so.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start. So, yeah, when Julie and I met 30 minutes before, she was off to the races with the real high level thinking stuff. I was like, can I just tell a story about...
we haven't told him what we're talking about.
Oh,
though.
yeah, that's right. Okay.
I'm like,
See?
hold on, bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Whoa.
Our topic for the day.
Yeah, our topic for the day is, and we touched on this in podcast number 2. We rewatched and listened, and what I picked up on was at the end when we talked about suffering ourselves in an effort to get kind of to the good stuff that we want for our lives.
Right.
And so, we're going to talk about suffering ourselves and what exactly that means.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. You tell me, do you want to go right into the story, the TJ Maxx story?
Yeah. Let's go there.
Where, okay. My base level thinking today. So I carry a really, really big wallet, and it is chock full of all the stuff that I might possibly need anywhere that I go. You know, it's got, like you were, all the old gift cards in it, my checkbook, and how often do I use a checkbook?
Welcome to 1980.
Right. But I still pay all my bills with checks. But on a daily basis, I don't need.
Do you have a
checkbook.
Yahoo account? Hotmail?
Do I still have? I don't have Hotmail, but I'm pretty sure I still have a Yahoo one. But yeah, so I carry this big wallet, and I'm a big wallet girl. I want to be a small wallet girl. And so sitting in the parking lot of TJ Maxx this afternoon before I headed over here to buy a new wallet, because I just need a new wallet also. Mine's pretty ratty. I'm like, okay, this is like an existential crisis for me, because becoming this small wallet girl means a lot more than just physically changing, to this wallet. It means giving up my safety net of carrying all this 99.9% of the time useless stuff around.
Right.
And only carrying the basics, with me, being more on the fly, you know. And so I started thinking, like, in order to do this, to be this small wallet girl, and there are a lot more cute small wallets than big wallets, I'm going to have to suffer myself a little bit here. And and suffer myself in a way of, it almost feels like the possibility of being caught with my pants down.
Right.
Like
you're going to show up with something.
Yeah.
You need it and not have it.
I'm going to need it and not have it. Yeah. What's up?
Sorry, Scott, do you mind turning me down just a hair? Thanks. Sorry. Okay. It was real loud for a second.
Yeah. And so, I sat in my car and thought about this. Like, what am I going to have to suffer about myself in order to do this? And it ended up that I got another big wallet because I'm just not ready to suffer myself with that. And this, I guess, why don't you do the broader
higher level
definition of what it is to suffer ourselves? Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you were talking about that, which is that I'm not ready to pare down and be a small wallet girl. And I was like, but what if you're just not a small wallet girl, right? It's not even about, where I go with that is it's not just about whether you can be a small wallet girl and what you have to give up to be there. Maybe it's just that that's not who you are.
Yes, and sitting in your office.
Yeah, layers of why we want to be a small wallet girl when maybe we're a big wallet girl.
Yeah, and I came to this realization sitting in your office not 30 minutes ago that, oh my God, this is what I do. This is what I've always done. I'm this big personality, fill up the room, loud, dare I say obnoxious sometimes,
High
person,
energy.
high energy person, and I always try and make myself smaller, but I'm a big wallet girl, big energy girl, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So but it was bigger than just physically moving into it. It had repercussions in other parts of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we could even take the layer of, what has happened in the past when you didn't have what you needed in the wallet. And that only reinforced the fact that you need the big wallet.
I need the wallet. I need the big wallet. I need all of my shit. Yeah. In order to fight.
No, I totally get it. I mean, I'm a big wallet girl too. I've never been able to keep everything in a small wallet. And if I do get a small one, it has to be one of the ones that has 10,000 spaces for all the gift cards and, places I can hide money. Because I think if I don't have my money in the big part of it, it won't get stolen.
Yeah.
You know, that's the narrative I have.
Yep, and all the change in case I need it for a meter. I mean, I guess I need a meter money more now, but I don't need meter money.
Right, and now you can just, you know, text a thing,
right?
And, you know, pay via text message.
Technology.
Yeah, so like you don't even have to have money. Yeah, so it's this piece. I think that's it. So when we were talking about it in there, and I got real kind of like high level, what I was contemplating, you know, I'm a verbal processor. So, and I have this, I have a friend named Kristen, who lives in Atlanta, and she always jokes and says, like, if I could make your brain like a filing cabinet, you would be really dangerous. You know, she's like, with the fact that your thoughts are all over the place, like I can just pull it out as needed in the moment, but I couldn't conjure it, you know, if there's not a precipitating factor. It's like, I can't get all my thoughts straight. So I go to 100. You saw my notes. I mean, this is just one of them. I had like 3 pages of notes that I took, and then I was like, okay, let's pare this down.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I came to was in this video, he has Richard Rohr, Father Richard Rohr, is a priest. He has the Center for,
contemplative thinking,
It's something in contemplation.
Yeah.
Center for something in contemplation. Anyway, out west. But he has he's written a lot of stuff, you know, really good stuff. And he has a video on YouTube called Becoming Stillness. Oh. And it's so powerful.
Center for Action and Contemplation.
Yeah, action and contemplation. Yeah. That's it. And so one of the things that he talks a lot about Christian mystics, like from the 1500s and 1600s, people who like were actually, you know, in the types of mystics that still exist that stay, you know, solitary for long periods of time and stay quiet for long periods of time, like concept of contemplation, right? Yeah. And I laugh because he even talks in, you know, Becoming Stillness that what we call New Age is actually, you know, old age.
Been around for forever.
Yeah. And but he talks about like contemplation and the concept of not just meditation but contemplation, right, where you just let your mind wander. And he says most of us cannot suffer with humility the suffering our mind brings us, right? The suffering of being in the wilderness of our mind. And that's what we're talking about, right? Like, the hard part is it's so layered. Like, on the surface, you're like, I just want to be a small wallet girl. Like, why can't I make myself a small wallet girl? And I immediately go to, what are all the messages we take in that tell you need to be a small wallet girl, right? Like, why do you even think that that's a thing of value for you? Yeah. You know? Or it's the suffering, the part that, like, accepting ourselves as we are and being okay with not being a small wallet girl. Yeah. Yeah. Not longing for the thing that we can't be.
Yeah. And I think, you know, like what we were talking about this in your office early, there are some positive attributes of being a small wallet girl.
Oh, yeah,
you know, we don't have a heavy pocketbook, you know, and it doesn't hurt our shoulders maybe as much. You know, that we were saying that's the heaviest item in our bag, you know, is our wallet.
And those are the kind of people that can go to like Europe for 2 weeks in a backpack.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Scott, not me. Y'all think I'm bad. I love my husband.
Is he a packer?
I can go out west on a week with a carry-on. He has to have like, you know, the, you know, 50.5 pound big suitcase.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just got those packed things that you like.
Oh, I have them.
Space bag things, you know, and suck all the air and you can fit. Oh, God.
They make it so heavy though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just have I don't have the ones that suck down, but I have the ones you can zip down. Mm-hmm. You know, you can compress them because then you can't fit more stuff and make it so heavy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the example that I went to in my mind, and I think that illustrates a similar point, is I was, we were thinking about that. Sorry, I'm hitting stuff. This is what happens in the afternoon. My ADD is in full force.
I like it.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, because I have a lot of really emotional examples I could use, right, in spaces. And the people who don't know me, I go out of town periodically by myself and spend 3 to 4 days hiking around the woods and doing stuff by myself in complete silence. You know, I may check in with my family, some and stuff. And of course, when you're hiking by yourself, every little old lady wants to chat you up on the trail to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. But like, aside from the small chitty chatty kind of stuff, I spent a lot extended periods in silence, and I really love it. And there was a time when I couldn't do it. I mean, it's a practice that I've had to take on. And actually, the more I do it, the more I crave it, and the more silence I need. So I'm actually becoming more introverted as I get older, in that way that being around a lot of people with a lot of energy sucks the life out of me where it used to energize me. But I was thinking about an example, so paring it back and keeping it simple. I don't know, it was years ago. I recognized I had a narrative where I was calling myself fat a lot, in conversation to other people and conversation with myself. And I started by being aware of how I talked about myself to other people. This is before I had kids. And I'd stopped talking about like calling myself fat in conversation with other people. Of course, back then I weighed like 130 pounds. Like, I'm like, wasn't, but it's like, it illustrates the point that no matter like, big or small, bigger size, smaller size, like that narrative, we will see what we believe about ourselves. Like the value doesn't come in having a smaller size. But the big thing was when I started realizing I was talking to myself like that all the time. And I started going, okay, I'm not going to talk to myself like that. What I had to suffer in my own mind was all the ways that I do talk to myself that way, and observing how profoundly present it was, that it was literally a running narrative. And then, so I had to be aware of it first. And suffering myself was really suffering like the shame that came from recognizing how I talk to myself, and then taking the time to get curious about what it is. Why am I thinking these things? When am I thinking these things? And y'all, yes, there were the times and spaces where I was like PMSing and I just didn't feel like I fit in my clothes, but a lot of the times it was places and spaces where I felt insecure about who I was, right? Like it was about being too big of a personality, being too loud, being too much of an advocate, not being quiet enough, not going by the rules. I would call myself fat in my mind when I wasn't fitting the rules of what society, what I perceive society says I should be, especially as a Southern female.
Yeah,
right?
so it was a more fat.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but that came out a lot in how, I showed up in that space, right? So that was a layer of it. I've layered this out through the years, and y'all, this shows up in our culture a lot. But recently, a way I suffered myself was like I had, I wasn't being as, like I'm not going to talk about, like I wasn't being as consistent as I prefer to be in the gym, right? And for me, consistency with nutrition comes with working out. Like if I'm moving my body, I'm not going to eat like crap because I don't, but if I'm not moving my body, eating like crap, I won't say like crap for me, it makes me feel bad. Like physically, I don't feel good, not just about myself, but like my body doesn't get fueled like it's good, like it likes. See, I'm even wrestling with the way we talk ourselves about exercise and food and that kind of stuff as I'm writing. I mean, I'm talking about this, but I had put on a couple of pounds and my clothes felt tight, and I was like, I need to go. We're going out west. I don't have like my clothes were just a hair too tight to travel with. And I'm like, I'm gonna go buy some clothes. And I'm literally in the store and I'm like trying to buy clothes that are too small. Right? Like I'm buying the size down, trying on the size down. And I took a deep breath and I said, there's no fucking value in the size of the clothing label. Why am I doing this? Because part of the reason I was there is I was looking at my closet and have a closet full of clothes that almost fit. I don't have a closet full of clothes that fit. And when I was 10 pounds smaller, guess what? I had a closet full of clothes that almost fit. And when I was a size 2, I had a closet full of clothes that almost fit. It's a mindset issue. And so what I have to suffer is, why am I always thinking that somehow I'm more valuable if I'm a size down?
Yeah.
And so I bought a bunch of clothes that fucking fit.
Yeah.
And I feel amazing because of it.
Yeah.
I'm even wearing shorts today. I don't ever wear shorts.
I know. I noticed.
like-
You have very nice legs.
I've got muscular legs. I'll show these bitches off.
That's right.
Sorry.
And that ass, though.
I know. I work hard on that ass. Anyway, so I think it's like it's a layering process. Like the first part of it for me was just even recognizing that the way I talk about myself to other people, and then to myself, and then all the different layers of how that shows up. And why am I going shopping in the first place? Well, this last time I was going shopping because we were traveling, so I wanted clothes that actually fit me.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when I'm shopping, it's because I don't feel like I have something I want, or maybe I'm tired. Or, I feel like I need another thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm there. My what spurs me to get to the shopping is not that I need clothes.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, oh, wait, I'm only valuable if I buy a smaller size.
Yeah. Is it that same, we talked about it in the podcast last time about how many of us are always looking for like a meme or a quote or a magic bullet kind of thing. Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, is this shopping becomes this magic bullet that's going to somehow fix,
and of course it doesn't, because there's not a dressing room lighting system that makes you feel like anything less than a fucking troll.
Yeah.
I'm saying the F word a lot.
Yeah, work it.
So here's what I'm going to say about the thing about suffering yourself. The reason why most people can't do it in contemplation. Most people want a formal thing to make them feel better, right? Like that thing that they're pushing against. It's not that it's a bad thing, right? Like we do ice baths and sauna, like, intentionally causing stress to your central nervous system, and using breathing and other things to regulate yourself during it is a good way to manage unforeseen stress.
Yeah.
Like it has its place. But if I can't sit still, like if I don't have another outside mechanism to make my mind feel like to distract me from my mind, then I'm still distracting from my mind.
Yeah.
And for me, the first layer was getting through the wilderness, the wildness, the hurt parts of me that showed up in those spaces, and really just being shocked at what shows up. The judgment, the fear, the scarcity, all the thing we talked about.
Yeah.
And if I let that, I just observe it as it is, and I don't try to control it. I don't try to tame it. I don't try to do any of that. It's like vinegar and oil. I get through the vinegar, and then I get to the oil, which is, it starts to get quiet. I tap into that quiet voice. That's me, my voice.
Yeah, kind of like when you go underwater.
Yeah.
And it's just complete silence.
Yeah.
You can hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just spent a lot of time talking about that, but
I like it. No, and
you're literally like writing away over here. So
I know
I'm curious.
I am.
Ooh,
Well,
tell me.
Yeah. So I mean, I just my organized brain just popped into play here. So
I'm glad somebody has an organized
for
brain.
me, for me, what I hear you saying is, God, I feel like we're in Imago together right now.
Do you need me to mirror this back to you?
Yes. No.
Summarize, empathize, validate.
Yes. Please, God, somebody do it for me. No, I can do that for myself most of the time. Okay, so there's this uncomfortable thought. You immediately go to something must be wrong.
Right.
We then reason, analyze, blame ourselves, blame someone else in order to basically self-soothe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or help put it into order or distract. And that is not suffering ourselves.
No.
So it's the, there's an uncomfortable thought. And this is the,
we want instant gratification.
yeah. This is where when you were talking, what I thought, anytime I have an uncomfortable thought that is, like I'm really sad feeling, or I'm scattered, or I'm clumsy, whatever it is. I'm not this put together person that I like to portray. I immediately think I must be getting my period. Is my period coming? It must be my period. It's rarely my period.
It's not true for me. Usually if I'm thinking that, I'm like, oh, wait, I am.
Yeah,
getting ready
no,
to
it's
start
not.
my
I
period.
blame every uncomfortable emotion on my period. And I mean, that comes from somewhere, obviously, you know.
That's why this is not therapy, because we're not surmising. We're not going to get into those theories. I mean, I'm like, as you're talking, I'm like, it's the basic ABCs of cognitive behavioral therapy, right? But like, the thing about that though is like, those are still distraction techniques. Like, we've evolved that to like acceptance and commitment therapy and other things where you actually learn to like observe your thoughts. You find the traps in your thinking that make you feel like you're suffering. A lot of it, I mean, like there's a book all about it called The Happiness Trap, right? It talks about the traps that we have in our thoughts that make us think we're going to be happy. And what the instinct. So this is where I will go to some of like the, you know, clinical stuff, right? The decision. Right? The decision to go buy clothes, the decision to make a judgment about another person, the decision to, you know, pick up a narrative.
Yeah.
You know.
Or judge my body.
Right. Or to judge my body.
Yeah, I must.
Or your wallet.
Yes. Yeah.
These are.
Or the processes of my body.
Yeah. So the thought, so our brains are designed to, you know, prioritize us for survival. So ambivalence is not a state our reptilian brain can sit with. Like, it's, you know, either or, yes or no, make a decision, move forward. And so that part of our brain rewards us when we make a decision. The decision could be terribly wrong.
But it's a decision.
It's a decision. It's like, bing, here's some feel good stuff. You're like, oh man, this feels like a good decision. It feels good. That's why I'm always like, everybody's like, if it's God's will. I'm like, yeah, God doesn't want us, doesn't care what house we drive or what car we have or whether we have those clothes or even who we marry.
Yeah.
It's how we show up in that, right? And suffering ourselves is how we show up in that.
Yeah.
It's delayed. I mean, it's delayed gratification, right? It's the piece where we can go, just because this feels good and right doesn't mean it's the right decision or that it's the right narrative or that it's the right thing. Just like calling myself fat is not about me thinking I'm fat, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not about me thinking I'm fat. It's about all the ways that I feel like I don't fit in the world. And I have to suffer that. And what that comes back to, God, I think about, okay, we said we weren't going to talk about Sister Brene, but I'll do it.
Do it.
I read the thing today that said, you know, vulnerability isn't, you know, we know we're acting in vulnerability. We're not screaming to be seen because we know we're enough. I'm like, oh. I usually love her stuff. I'm like, that bitch. Yeah. So it's that instant grat. But the delayed gratification is where the oil is.
It is.
It's where when we can suffer the mind or the discomfort or the desire to resolve whatever we're feeling right now. Because a lot of times it's also the mechanism of anxiety. We get anxious, we make a decision to try to relieve the anxiety in the short term, and we create a worse problem in the long run. Yes. It only gets compounded.
Yeah, and go ahead and say the quote that you say to me all the time that I...
Cause myself a lifetime of misery to avoid one moment of pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. And so going to the quote we talked about last week, which is the healing. At some point in your healing, you have to take responsibility for the part you play in your own suffering. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it's about. So I think the last thing we can talk about is parceling out, like, suffering is a part of the healing process. Suffering is a part of the human experience, right?
And grief.
Yeah.
It's grief.
Yeah, I mean, anything that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But being wholehearted says I can recognize where I amplify my suffering or stay stuck in suffering, and I don't let it pass. Yeah. You know, and that's where that's where our locus of control is taking responsibility for our own thoughts, actions, and even taking the time to explore the vestiges of our mind.
Yeah.
Which is a scary place when you first do it.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And when you do stop having the knee-jerk reasons, analyzation, is that a word?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep, it's a word for us.
Okay. And blaming. You know, you have that uncomfortable thought, and you're not knee-jerking into the thing that makes it seem or feel right inside. Mm-hmm. It's having curiosity about it. You know, I must be getting ready to start my period. Wait, am I?
Right.
Maybe, but maybe I'm just sad.
And sometimes the push, the hormonal push that we have when we're getting ready to start the period, like the behavior we show up in isn't how we want to be, but the issues that we talk about are things that are really vexing us, but it gets packaged in a way that's, right?
Insane woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it totally gets, you know, it totally gets invalidated by us.
And I was going to say, and we are taught and we swallow it by the spoonful.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, as I get closer to, you know, menopause, like my PMS is a very real and increasingly intense experience for me.
Yeah.
And for JP.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thought I have is, I think an easy way, I talked last week about how, or last podcast, about how when I came back from Sedona on the girls' trip and I was really feeling like, you know, I was judging my friends and I had to stop and say, what's going on with me? That's such a simple thing to say. It's such a hard thing to do. And I really want to address that. One last piece is that I'm in a consistent set of communication with someone right now where whenever anything happens and there's uncomfortable feelings, they talk about what's happening with me, right?
Yes.
You obviously feel this way. I'm like, but how do you feel? You obviously, how do you feel? So that's the suffering part too. The vulnerability part is like stopping and taking a breath and stop saying, you obviously feel this way, and start saying, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when we really that's the oil of the suffering, ourselves, is that we get to a place where we can respect and own our own otherness from other people and respect theirs, give them space, respect, autonomy, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
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 I know. I think that's just an exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good wrapping point.
Yeah. I do want to tell one more story.
Sure.
Call myself out real quick.
Yeah. Scott's giving you the thumbs up.
So right before I came here,
Mm-hmm.
I told you the story already. I was going to surprise my son where he works. And so I went to the place and walked in and said, "Hey, is West here? Where's West?" They looked at me funny. So I went to the next person and said, "Hey, where's West?" They looked at me funny. Went to customer service. I'm getting like a little wigged out here at this point. Like, "Hi, I'm West's mom. Where is he?" They're like, "There's no West that works here." I was like, "Oh, shit. Damn." And so I got in the car and I'm like, began immediately flogging myself. Mm-hmm. Like, what mother doesn't know where her son works,
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of thing came in.
Your adult son, by the way.
My adult son. Yes. Came in, and I'm still flogging myself. And I'm like, so I texted him, "Dude, where do you work?" And he told me, and it was, I had the right place. It was just wrong location.
Yeah, and keep in mind that there's 2 locations of the same business within a mile or 2 of each other out here. So it's an easy mistake to make.
It was, but it's like, there was this problem on the surface, because I do want to know where my son works. Mm-hmm. There was this problem on the surface, and I immediately go to, uncomfortable thought. Let me reason, analyze, blame. I blame myself for it, But I had this okay, hang on. Like, why don't I know this? And that was the suffering myself,
Because you made an assumption about where it was.
Right. And I've never asked.
Yeah.
I've never asked the kid.
Yeah.
Man, kid, but kid,
Yeah.
Never asked. Now I know, but I just never had asked. And then at the flogging, well, why haven't you asked, Joanna? Begins. And I'm like, well, because I assumed.
Right.
I assumed,
That's such a powerful point.
Yeah.
How much do we assume about things?
Right. It wasn't that I am a bad mom or an unattentive mom, or I just solidly had fixed in my mind that he worked at location A. Mm-hmm. And he actually worked at location B. And it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Now I know.
Yeah.
And now I can go surprise him.
Right.
When I want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just been like matriculating through my brain as we've been sitting here talking.
No,
you know?
I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, suffering ourselves is also allowing ourselves to sit with self-compassion when we're imperfect,
Right.
when we do things that are hard, to witness other people, to validate their experience and be separated from it. You know?
Yeah. And maybe this will, not today, obviously, but segue into podcast 4 of the self-soothing, because that is a form, I guess, of self-soothing.
Sure.
Yeah. The self-compassion thing.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to what we talked about last time. You can only show up in as much of a thing as you have it for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so that's if you can't soothe yourself, you can't show up in self-compassion. You have a hard time showing up in compassion for another person. If you can't suffer your own shame, then you can't, walk through you can't walk through. You actually tend to shame other people inadvertently.
Absolutely. Not even realizing it.
Oh, yeah. It's so subtle, all of those things. So, I mean, we could literally go off in 100 different ways here. So I am going to wrap it. But I love that example. And that's a great way to leave off, which is they don't say when you assume you make an ass out of you and me
for no reason. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And that's all it boiled down to. It was just an assumption. And we all do that, and it's okay. And it's no hellfire and brimstone result. It's just, maybe I need to ask.
Yeah. And how countercultural in a world that says everybody must be blamed for something.
Right.
Right. It's always, we're in a place where everybody's too busy doing this.
Yes.
So to reckon with yourself is even countercultural.
Yeah.
It's big wallet energy.
It is. It's big wallet energy. Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see a T-shirt in the future. Big wallet energy.
Mm-hmm. I can hear the hook in my mind.
Yep. If you know, you know.
We cannot sing that song without doing copyright infringement, so I won't do it. But there you go. So thank you, as always, for being, in this space with me.
Yes.
I love this project, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Palmetto Moose Productions. Yep.
Woo-woo.
Yep. And we're on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. New Instagram handle because we got kicked off the last one. So this is Nude, N-E-W-D, and Lude, L-U-D-E podcast. Mm-hmm. Nude and Lude podcast.
We have
Instagram.
It doesn't really have any graphics or anything yet because we're waiting to see if it got pulled.
Yeah.
But as of right now,
it's stayed alive for 24 hours now. So maybe we're good.
Yeah, we have the podcast will actually be posted in its entirety on Facebook, and then it'll also be on iTunes and YouTube and Spotify. Yep. So Nude and Lude, N-E-W-D, and Lude, L-U-D, Nude and Lude.
Yeah, I do have just real quick because I know we got to go. A friend of mine tried to just Google Nude and Lude and nothing came up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it could be shadow banned because of its name.
Yeah.
Or it could just not be popular.
Well, I was going to say it's brand new, so we don't have any SEO on it either. So that's also part of it. And we don't have
any
search,
SEO.
Search engine optimization.
Okay.
We also don't have a website, so that's part of it.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. If we actually had a website and something that you could drive traffic to versus, because if you actually, this happens if you pull up a business that doesn't have a website, you can't, it'll just pull up their thing and it'll say there's no website on Google. And then if you scroll down, you'll see that they may have a Facebook, but they don't actually, link it.
That's the best way.
Yes.
Just follow us on Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see our posts.
Follow us on Facebook, he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. If you follow us on Facebook,
Okay.
you can see our post and you can watch it in its entirety there.
Word.
Yep.
All right.
Rock on. Thanks, everybody. We really, really, really appreciate you. Even if there's 2 people out there listening to us, we, Natalie included as she walks in. I'm just kidding. I've given her a shout out every week. Hey, Natalie. And we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, Scott. Joanna, thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love you.
I love you too.
All right.
We
Thanks,
love you
guys.
too, Scott.
Bye. Woo.
Bye.
Take care.